Hello, everybody. Welcome to another SSCCC candidacy video. We are here with Katherine Squire. She's currently the student trustee at San Joaquin Delta College. She's the Regional Affairs Director for Region 2, and she is running for Vice President of Regional Affairs for the 2020-2021 Board of Directors for the SSCCC. Katherine, welcome, and thank you for joining me. Katherine,
thank you so much for having me. Really excited.
Great. Okay, so I do want to start off by saying this. This format's a little bit different. The last few videos I was able to record were with students prior to the COVID-19 pandemic, and I was able to dedicate a lot more time to this. So I do apologize to you, Katherine, that I wasn't able to put some questions together. So this format's going to be a little bit different, but I did want to emphasize to you and to the viewers that I want to make sure that candidates do get the opportunity to speak. And right now, with the situation the way that it is, given that the election is going to be on a digital format, to me, I think it's important that we give everybody a chance to talk. So why don't you go ahead and just tell us a little bit about you, if you can, just kind of paint a picture of who you are, what your student leadership journey has been like, and maybe a little bit about what your plans were if elected for VP of RA.
Yeah, sure, definitely. Like you mentioned, my name is Katherine Squire. I'm a current student at San Joaquin Delta College, a political science major. My story's a little bit different just because I actually didn't come into my position as a regional affairs director coming straight from out of an ASO. I didn't come from a student government. I actually was just a student advocate. And I had a few friends who were in student government that got me really involved and really showed me the importance of being civically engaged, especially at my college, just because I found myself identifying with a lot of the obstacles that our students are faced. One of those friends who actually sits on the Board of Governors now, his name is Colin Fitzgerald. He also goes to my college. And he got me really involved. And he was actually the regional affairs director for my region before I ascended into the position. So that's kind of how I came into the SSCCC. Not really knowing too much of the ins and outs. I didn't really have a lot of experience. Like I said, I didn't come from a student government. So it was a little bit more of an unconventional journey for me. But yeah, I got involved because, I found myself identifying with a lot of the obstacles that our students face. I actually came into college 2 days after my dad had passed away. He had dealt with being homeless for the past 2 years, and then ended up committing suicide. And so that happened the weekend before I started college. So it came in, firstly, grieving the loss of a parent, but also, first generation minority Hispanic. So I didn't really know my way around navigating community college or college in general. Like, I didn't even know what the office hours were. So I struggled quite a lot, and then my mom lost her job about 2 months later after that. So I was working a full-time job, trying to support my family and also going to school. So it was really difficult. But once I started to get involved in student issues, I really saw, I think, a lot of potential in myself to be able to change the system and not have to accept that this was a reality for me, that it had to be a reality for me. So I ended up in my student government, firstly as a senator of legislation. I then went on to get promoted as the student trustee, and now I'm here running for VPRA after being a regional affairs director for this year. So that's really my journey as a community college student. Beyond that, my mother is also in college, so I've gotten the opportunity to really be a mentor to her. And seeing what older students have had to gone through too. So that's definitely helped me have a lot of enlightened knowledge about other student populations as well. And I'm hoping to really use that knowledge in this position. And then you wanted to know a little bit about my platform, right? Is that what you were asking?
Yes, if you can share just maybe what your plans are, some interesting ideas, anything like that.
Yeah, so there are three, I think, main ideas of my platform, three priorities that I really want to work on if I were to be elected to this role. The first one is really increasing building regional community in our regions. And I say that because, when I first came into being the regional affairs director, I've seen other directors struggle with this, is really building that community in your regions and having the presence. And so one of the things I want to work on is making sure that every director is equipped with the materials to plan regional events. This is why retreats are so important, why regional summits are something that we've been trying to do for a few years now, is because building that presence in the region is really important. And, you want not just student government students to know about the SSCCC and about your region, but also just students outside of that. And that's something that I managed to do in my region, is really build that community, get those students sitting on committees, and for them to really understand the importance of the work that we do. And more importantly, that there's a place for every kind of student. And I think the thing that people get wrong sometimes about the SSCCC is, oh, it's just for poli-sci majors, or, I'm not the student government type. But we have so many different kinds of students working in our regions. We have communications officers who are majors in communications and media type stuff. And then, we have our business majors. There's such a variety of different kinds of roles for every student. And that's something that I really, really want to get out there. And in that message, I want to get out there. So my second priority for my campaign is really also working on regional sustainability. And part of my plan includes having a regional advisor for every single region, or if you don't have a regional advisor, working to really establish relationships with the advisors at each college. And I say that because it's such a struggle coming in every year, having new directors and having to completely reactivate regions. And if you have relationships with advisors, advisors are the ones who are at colleges more long-term, as opposed to just, being there for a year and then leaving. So I think, if we were able to have regional advisors there, or work with the advisors, then it would just create the sustainability, and they would know how to facilitate the importance of having a delegate represent their college every year. So that's another thing I want to work on. Part of sustainability is also for each region to have a budget plan, which I think is super important. So having directors work with their treasurers to develop a budget and fundraising plan, so that way every region has a set amount of funds that they can use to create their community. So I think those two priorities really go hand in hand. And then the third priority I really want to emphasize is increasing our onboarding process. And I think this has been a problem for some time, just because we don't have a real robust onboarding process. And, I think that's become a really bad problem. If you'll notice, there weren't a lot of delegates who stepped up to run for a position in this year's elections. There were only a few. And, we never asked ourselves the question of why that is. And I think it has to do with delegates not feeling prepared, but it's, we have to ask ourselves, like, why don't they feel prepared? And the answer is that, we haven't provided enough materials and enough training opportunities for them to get that experience. And I say that with no lack of experience. I actually ran for VPRA last year and lost because I had a lack of experience. But, I think we have to show delegates that they have potential, but also show them that there are going to be the tools available for them to get that experience. That's something I didn't have, and something that I think a lot of delegates this year felt really unprepared having, and that's why they didn't run. But also just generally onboarding, students into regional positions as well, and making sure that they feel equipped to handle that as well, because it's a lot of weight, being the regional affairs director or a legislative affairs director, or having a regional position, and then not really having any kind of training to take that on. I think kind of this triple C that we've had in the past. And, this is where I think we have a weakness is you should already know how to do these things. But also there's a fault on us with not having that training to give to you. So those are, I think, my 3 main priorities. If you have any other questions for me, love to hear them. But I think that kind of sums up my platform for the most part.
Okay, great. Sustainability, relationship with advisors. I think that's all good. We're on 10 minutes now. I want to give you the next 5 minutes if you'd like. If you feel comfortable, we just answer one question, and that's in regards to the current COVID-19 pandemic that we're facing. Obviously, we are all practicing social distancing. The General Assembly was moved to a digital format, and it's, these are very trying times, and we don't know when it's going to end. We were told here in California, April 30th. Just now, President Trump announced that. We're hearing talks about Maryland going into lockdown indefinitely. Some other states, I think Virginia's going into lockdown until June. I know Southwestern, which is my college, they are moving not just their spring courses to online, but now there's talked about the summer and maybe even the fall moving online. So, as someone, who you mentioned that you want to bring regions closer together, how would you think that'd be possible if heaven forbid, we're in this for the long haul and we're looking at 1 or 2 semesters of, continuing to practice social distancing? What are some of your ideas for keeping people together?
Right. So one thing I'm currently working on with the SSCCC, and that I'm going to be bringing to the board of directors' attention is the fact that we should be having some kind of statewide town hall that students can kind of call into and express their concerns to us. We did write a memo about a couple weeks ago expressing student concerns, things that students are dealing with. But I'm really hoping to go beyond that and hear directly from students. And I think, there's a lot of fear about what's going to happen with grades. Are we going to be able to select no pass? How are international students coping with this? Because, some of them don't have housing or being told that they have to leave their schools and these places. And, I think in this time, it's all about, for one, using social media to reach out to students and making sure that we're using that to maintain our relationships within our regions. It may not seem like it, I think, but, sometimes posts about, self-care and what we can do to protect ourselves actually do go a long way. But I think with the town hall, it's also just as equally important for us to be listening to students and hearing those concerns, but also, to provide some comfort. And I think in these times, even though we have concerns, we're united in those concerns, and we're finding comfort in that. We're trying to go through all of these solutions. And I think at this point, it's just all about sharing best practices, what colleges are doing what, and how can we support each other. And I think that as scary as this is, it's also a time for community colleges to bond together. And that's what we've been seeing across the state for the most part, I think. I answered your question.
You did, and I definitely appreciate that. I know I just sprung that on you, and for those watching, usually we get a chance for the candidate to look at the questions beforehand. So just want to be as transparent as I can about that. I don't have any further questions. Right now, I just want to give you the last 90 seconds or however long to give us maybe, tell students where they can find you, any Facebook pages, Instagram, email, whatever you'd like. Where can students find you?
Yeah, so I'm definitely available on Facebook. My name is Katherine Squire. You can just look it up. I'm on Instagram. My username is Katherine_Squire_. Or my campaign page will be attached to that as well, Katherine for VPRA. Today I'll actually be releasing all of the platform that I discussed today. So those 3 priorities, you'll be able to find more information on them. As far as, this interview goes, I would love to answer any last questions that anyone has before GA. Please feel free to message me through my social media pages. And yeah, I think that's all I have, but thank you so much, Claudia, for doing this interview with me. I know it's been kind of hard with all the craziness going on, but we're gonna get through it, and we're just gonna stick together. So.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for joining me. I know I definitely haven't covered everybody. I've given everybody a chance. I've reached out to some people. We're doing the best that we can with the resources that are available. But thank you so much, Katherine, for joining me. I'll be sure to include the links that you mentioned in the description. I know it's cutting short, but if anybody's watching this and would like to be interviewed leading up to GA, perhaps even afterwards, please let me know. I'll include my information below. But in the meantime, Katherine, once again, thank you so much for joining me, and thank you everybody for watching.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.